Most engineers misunderstand the concept of finite element analysis, and I want to prove it to you. Can you answer this question correctly? We have a part here with 3 connections, A, B, C. This part is 3D printed with PLA with an ultimate tensile strength of 60 megapascals. That means the maximum pulling stress this material can handle before breaking is roughly 60 million pascals. Now, if I fix one end and apply about 100 newtons of force to the other end, about 10 kilos or 20 pounds, according to the simulation, the maximum stress point would be on connection B about here, about 65 megapascals. Here comes the question, ready? Would this component break? And if so, where? Would it be on connection A, on connection B, or on connection C? I want you to pause the video and comment your answer below before I reveal the result. To find the answer, we have to go to this test rig that I have built and put it to test. Here is our fixture. So I have 100 newtons here. I'm gonna connect it to this magnet, and as soon as I let go of my hand, we'll find the answer to this. Ready? 3, 2, 1. It didn't break. Even at 100 newtons. Even if I apply more force to it, you see the test rig is bending down, but the component is not breaking. So, what's happening? So what happened here? What good is FEA then? In a few seconds, I'll increase the force until one of these connections actually break. Then we'll see whether your second answer was right or not. But before I do that, I want to tell you the 5 ideas that govern FEA. These ideas apply whether you're analyzing a bracket, a medical implant, or a plastic housing. If you understand these 5 ideas, most FEA problems stop feeling so mysterious. Idea number 1 is FEA does not give answers, it gives direction. Most engineers run FEA to find the answer to the question, will it break? That question already puts them on the wrong path, as you have seen. FEA is not a judge. It does not decide pass or fail. FEA is a directional tool. It shows where stress concentrates, how load flows, and how sensitive geometry is to change. Engineers who understand this use FEA early to shape designs. Engineers who do not use it late to justify them. The difference alone separates good simulations from bad ones. Idea 2, hotspots are about sensitivity, not failure. As we have seen, a colored plot shows concentration, not catastrophe. A red region tells us this area is sensitive to geometry, loading, or constraints. It does not tell us this is where the part will fail or when it will fail. I think we have established that. Across the structures, fatigue problems, and thermal systems, the governing failure mode is rarely the highest peak value. It is the most sensitive region over time. Once we start to see hotspots this way, we stop chasing colors and start making good decisions. The third idea is material. Material behavior closes the simulation. FEA never stands alone. Every simulation is a balance equation closed by assumptions. A stainless steel part and a super elastic nitinol part can show the same plot and mean completely different things. Stress governs one, strain governs the other. 2 engineers can look at the same result and reach opposite conclusions. Not because one is wrong, but because one understands material behavior and the other one probably does not. Idea number 4, boundary conditions decide whether results matter. FEA is brutally honest about one thing. It gives you exactly what you ask for. Garbage in, garbage out. If your constraints, contacts, or loads do not reflect reality, the results can be perfectly converged and completely meaningless. This is why most bad simulations look clean. Understanding how a part is constrained in real life matters more than the mesh refinement, for example. Idea 5. FEA is a tool for judgment. Don't forget that. Not confirmation. In real engineering work, FEA is not used to prove design safe. It is used to compare options. And before we go back to the test rig and pull the component until one of the connections fail, and we find out which one fails first, let me tell you why we do FEA through an example. In the field of biomedical engineering, for example, for designing artificial heart valves made of nitinol, which is a super elastic component, you have to run FEA analysis because that component is designed to be placed inside a beating heart. A heart beats about 70 times per minute, and that component has to withstand about 10 years of cycle load. That is about 400 million load cycles. Now, you cannot afford to wait 10 years to find out your design is going to pass or fail. So FEA comes in and you run the simulation. You apply the realistic boundary conditions that you think your component has to go through, not only after the implementation, but also during manufacturing, because that material has undergone a lot of stress during manufacturing. In the early stages of manufacturing, it's heat treatment, it's pulling, it's pushing, it's polishing, all of that is taken into account. And then once you do that, you put the final product for a fatigue test in FEA. That speeds up your process and you don't have to wait 10 years. And even after that, if it fails, well, obviously you go back to the design board and you're gonna have to adjust. But even if it passes, you don't celebrate much. It's a good news for sure, but it's not a green light to just go to the market. It just gives you the approval to start the in vitro, that is putting the component in a lab machine and do the actual testing on the real product, only to find out if your FEA analysis was right. So in another word, if it's done right, it saves you time. And if it's done wrong, it can cost you a catastrophe. This is true in aerospace, automotive, medical, as I said, or even consumer products. FEA does not replace testing. It makes testing smarter. One last thing, because I can think of a question that you might be asking about the software. Is the software important or not? While the software matters and plays an important role, these 5 ideas I just shared with you, they don't depend on the software. They apply whether you're using SolidWorks, ANSYS, Abacus, or anything else. They apply to static or dynamic, linear or non-linear. Once you see FEA through this lens, this tool stops being intimidating. You know what to look for first. You know what matters, and you know what not to trust. So if I wanted to simplify FEA into the most important constraints that you have to take into account is your boundary conditions. That is why before running serious FEA analysis, there are meetings about the realistic forces that are applied to that component, about the realistic fixtures and movements that this component can go through or will go through before you start the analysis. So you have to write tests. Everybody has to sign off on it. It's important to get the connection and boundary conditions right. Without that, you're just creating colorful plots that don't mean much. Now, how about we go back to the test rig up there, start pulling this component, and find out if your answer was right or not. If it's going to break on A, B, or C. Let's go. So this is the setup. I have put a gearbox with a worm gear on the left side, pulling this wire gradually to the left, and this component is fixed on this right side. I'm gonna speed up the video right until the moment it's gonna snap. Then we slow down. Here it's about to snap. It happens so fast that I have to include another shot taken with my phone with 240 frames. Unfortunately, it's not enough to see which one snaps first, but I leave the decision to you. One thing very interesting, at this frame, we'll see connection B and connection C are broken. I have to assume connection C broke first because the displacement on connection C is larger than the displacement on connection B. So if you have picked C, you answered correctly. However, take a look at this frame on connection B. It did not break from the hotspot that we saw in our analysis. The analysis picked this spot, but it broke a little bit further down. I don't know if this video could help you, but if I was able to help you a little bit or change your perspective about the world of finite element analysis, I would appreciate it to like this video if you are a subscriber,